Welcome back, everybody. Today we are doing a deep dive on a creature that might be small, but has a story that is larger than life. And that is the Mormon Metalmark Butterfly.
That's right.
Now, this butterfly, talk about stunning. Its wings are just like these little stained glass windows,
Mm.
and they are completely, utterly dependent on, get this, buckwheat.
Yeah.
Buckwheat. It's a plant. I love to eat it. I love buckwheat pancakes.
Yeah.
But apparently, it's much more than that for the Mormon Metalmark Butterfly. And to help us really get into this, we have an expert joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive into this, no pun intended, with you.
So really quick, I got to know right off the bat, what is so special? What's the big deal about this butterfly and buckwheat?
So imagine this. Okay, imagine that everything you need to survive in the world, all your food, your shelter, your entire existence, basically, is based on one single plant. That's what it's like for the Mormon Metalmark butterfly. And it all starts when the female lays her eggs underneath, like on the underside of a buckwheat leaf.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm already hooked. So she lays her eggs under the buckwheat leaf. What happens next?
Yeah. So then the eggs, they hatch into these tiny little caterpillars, but and here's the thing, they're masters of disguise.
Really?
They've got this like incredible ability to blend in with their surroundings, like the leaf litter and stems and things on the forest floor.
Wow.
Yeah. So they just kind of disappear right in front of you. It's amazing.
That is incredible. And so are they eating the buckwheat?
Oh, yeah. The buckwheat leaves, that's their main source of food, and it helps them grow bigger and stronger. And then get this, they go through this crazy transformation called pupation.
Okay, so buckwheat is like their go-to for the caterpillar stage.
Yeah.
But what about when they're a full-fledged butterfly? Do they still need the buckwheat then?
Oh, absolutely. Buckwheat is like the star of the show throughout their entire life. The adult butterflies, they feed on the nectar from buckwheat flowers. That's what gives them the energy to fly around, find mates, and, well, basically keep the whole cycle going.
Yeah. It's like a perfect partnership.
It is.
It really is. It's kind of romantic in a way.
You could say that.
But speaking of connections, where can we find this power couple? Where do they like to hang out?
So they're quite the travelers, actually. Their range extends all the way from British Columbia, those sunny slopes up there, all the way down to parts of Mexico. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And what's really cool is that no matter where you find them within that huge range, they're always going to be in those dry, open spaces where the buckwheat is thriving.
Okay, so I'm picturing all these sunny spots. Now give me the close-up. What does this butterfly actually look like?
Yeah. So imagine this. You've got a mosaic of brown, orange, and white colors, all on these tiny little wings. And I'm talking tiny. We're talking a wingspan of about 2.5 to 3.5 centimeters.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Those intricate patterns, they're not just for show. That's their camouflage. That's how they blend in and stay safe from predators.
Oh, so it's like a fashion statement that's also life-saving.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting. The underside of their wings, it's got more muted colors.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when they're just hanging out on the ground or hiding among the leaf litter, they're even more invisible.
So they've got like a whole wardrobe change going on.
Exactly. They're ready for anything.
That's incredible. And this is a big BUT. Despite all that, they're facing some pretty serious threats, right?
That's right, unfortunately. As humans keep expanding, we take up more land, more development, and that leads to habitat destruction, which is a huge problem for the Mormon Metalmark.
And specifically, what kinds of development are we talking about?
Well, think about it. We're converting natural grasslands into agricultural fields, or urban areas, and that just wipes out the buckwheat and other plants that this butterfly depends on.
And then there's climate change too, right?
Yeah, climate change is another big worry. It's messing with weather patterns, leading to more droughts, higher temperatures, and that's bad news for both the butterfly and its buckwheat buddy.
It's like a 1-2 punch. And then you add invasive species into the mix, and it's like a triple threat.
Yeah, you got it. Invasive plants, the ones that weren't supposed to be there in the first place, often brought in by us, humans, they outcompete buckwheat and further reduce those precious resources.
It's like a domino effect, really. Yeah. But on a more positive note, are there any conservation efforts in place to protect these guys?
Absolutely. There are a lot of people, really dedicated people and organizations out there working hard to protect the Mormon Metalmark. A big focus is habitat restoration. They're replanting buckwheat, creating corridors to connect those fragmented habitats.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and there's also a ton of research being done to understand their needs better, so we can come up with effective conservation strategies.
So it's not all hopeless.
No, not at all.
That's great to hear. But I think the big question a lot of people are going to have is, why should we care? It's a butterfly. Most people probably won't ever even see one in their lifetime.
That's a good question. But the Mormon metalmark, with its wild life cycle and this dance it does with we are all part of, whether we realize it or not.
Right.
And if it disappears, it's a sign that something's wrong with the ecosystem. It's a loss of biodiversity, and that affects everything.
It makes you think,
Yeah,
every creature, no matter how small, has a part to play in the bigger picture.
absolutely.
So much depends on these seemingly tiny interactions and relationships. For you personally, what stands out to you about the Mormon metalmark?
I think what really gets me is its resilience. They are facing all these challenges, habitat loss, climate change, invasive species, and yet they are still hanging on, still fighting to survive. It's a reminder to me that even in the face of adversity, there's always hope, and that even the smallest among us can have a huge impact.
That is a great point to end on, I think. Just something for everybody to consider.
Yeah.
How these little interactions can have such big effects,
That's right.
and how we can all do our part to protect the delicate balance of nature. Thanks so much for joining us today. This has been an incredible deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, until next time, keep exploring and keep asking questions, because that's how we learn and that's how we grow.
That's right.
We'll see you next time.